Today I'm cooking one of the most iconic Sicilian dishes, meat rolls in tomato sauce. This is something that in Sicily often they cook for special occasions, on a Sunday or festivities, because meat is quite expensive. However, I will be using a cheap cut of meat, and they either eat it with pasta or they eat as a second side dish after the pasta with some salad. But I will be making mine today so that I can eat it with pasta. I'm using a fairly cheap cut of meat, as I mentioned. I don't think it's necessary to spend an arm and a leg. I've placed some cling film on top so that I don't make a mess, and the first thing I'll do is to go over with a meat basher and thinning them up a little. Obviously the cling film stops my kitchen from becoming a butcher shop. This one here doesn't want to play, so I'm not gonna go any further, but you can see that by going from the center towards the outside, actually I've made my steaks considerably thinner, wider and easier to roll. I'm cooking for 3 people. I've got 3 pieces, so that's fine. This one here, which is a little bit thicker, I'm going to chop in little pieces and it'll be part of my tomato base. I'm not just saying it, but this is genuinely a very simple recipe that anybody can put together. So do not be put off by the fact that you are seeing this meat rolled and might look complicated. It's really simple. And the bonus is that it really tastes amazing. I'm adding bacon. You can either use smoked or unsmoked. This is unsmoked, what I'm using today. And I'm going for bacon because I'm going to be dipping them in my passata sauce in a little while. And the bacon will release additional flavor. But also you can use ham if you want, or any other pork products. Bacon is pretty good though, because of the slow release of flavor. Cheese next, and the choice is entirely up to you. Today I found some provolone dolce, and this is mild. This cheese is very typical of Italy, and by the way, I have just washed my knife, so ensure that you do not cross-contaminate, of course. And this will melt, and it will release almost a smoky flavor. But of course you can add any cheese you like, but choose something which has got a little bit of a kick. And I'm going to apply some on top of my steaks, just like this. I think it's plenty there. You might have heard some rattling going on earlier. They are my eggs which were boiling. I've actually drained the hot water and filled it with the cold water, and it is a little tip which helps when you are removing the shell from the eggs, considerably easier than if you didn't do it. Look, I'll show you. This is one. You can see how easy it's coming off. And here's the other one. And out of the whole meal, this is the real Sicilian touch. We absolutely love eggs in meat rolls in Sicily. So just slice it the best you can, like this. Of course, if you do not like egg, you don't have to put it in, but it will add a lovely flavor if you like it. We're nearly there. We are having to buy parsley at the moment, as we are not quite ready with our plants. So I bought some from the supermarket, which is a little bit unlike me, but you can also use parsley if you like, or any herbs you like, but parsley goes really well with this, especially because once you cook them in the tomato sauce and that the parsley is sealed inside each individual roll, it will retain all of its flavor. And of course it cannot be an Italian meat roll if I don't add a little Parmigiano on top, just enough to contrast my provola dolce. Salt and pepper, and I'm almost there. So far nothing complicated. You've seen what I've done. It's almost like putting a sandwich together, but go on top and just tap the ingredients as flat as you can without squashing everything, and then you're ready to roll. And this is the only time where you might need to take some time and just do it slowly and you'll be fine. I always place my thumbs underneath the steak over here, and then with the rest of my fingers I'll press it down and I'll start rolling, and I'll do this movement so that the ingredients stay together and start rolling at the same time. You can see it's not a problem at all, really. It's very simple. Most important thing is to just take your time and do it slowly. And look, I've almost finished the first one there. And as I am in rolling mode, I'll close the others and then we can seal them. Well, seal is not the right word, properly close them. So get hold of one of your rolls, place it on the palm of your hand, make sure that the opening is on the way up. I've got a toothpick over here, and just go in from one end, make sure that you leave about 1 centimeter so it doesn't rip. Go in, then make sure that you stab the meat on the other side. You'll be able to feel it here with your thumb. You can then come out, go in again, and then if you can, come out again, and then there you go. You've got a toothpick holding everything together, and simple as that. I'm moving on to the hob to make my tomato base. I've got a saucepan over here, and I'm going to apply some olive oil. This is soffritto, which I keep in the freezer, and it consists of chopped carrots, celery and onions. I've made a little video a few days ago. I'll put a little link up here if you would like to see how I do this. I'm going to add a good handful, and it is beginning to sizzle. Let's take a look. That's good. Before I go any further, I've got here the little piece of steak which I've chopped in little pieces, plus any leftover from the filling. And I'll mix it in so that my meat starts browning next. This is tomato puree. I'll start with that first, about 1 teaspoon, and I'll mix it in until it's totally absorbed. You will have noticed, by the way, that for a change I haven't added any garlic. That is because my son is going out this evening, and he said, can you keep garlic out? So it's very much optional, so you don't have to. But here I've got a half a litre of tomato passata, and I will add that next. I've just added a little running water to my tomato passata packet, because there is always a lot attached to the sides and it would go wasted. So just a little, enough to rinse it, and I can go in also. And I'll give this a couple of minutes until it starts bubbling again. And there it is. As well as being very easy, it's also very quick, the preparation of this dish. So I'm going to position my 3 meat rolls inside. I'll turn the temperature up on maximum until it starts properly boiling. I'll make sure that they are properly covered with passata, and I'm not going to tinker with them as I don't want to touch them really. I'll place the lid on, I'll turn the temperature down on medium low, and I will leave them to cook now for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. 45 minutes should be plenty because they're only small, but obviously depending on the size of your steak, it might need a little bit longer. And then I'll cook the pasta. See you then. Whenever I cook anything like this, my brains take me back to memory lane, because this is the very smell that used to wake me up on a Sunday morning when, bless her, my mum would have been up already a couple of hours. She would get up at 6 o'clock to cook a Sunday meal, and the smell of this meat roll cooking in the tomato sauce would have been all over the house. I know it's a nice memory for me, but in all fairness, I do feel for my poor mum, because now that I'm an adult, I've said this before in a video, I do realize how hard she used to work, and she has 6 children. My mum is still alive, by the way, but it is really not fair. And what I mean by that is that there is still a culture where I come from in Sicily. I think actually it's worldwide anyway, where men don't really pull their weight a lot in the kitchen, and I think that is not right. And especially where I come from, the man is still seen as the man of the house, and to an extent it's not right that they don't do work in the kitchen. If I was able to, I'm really struggling with this one, toothpick.
That's yours, you can have that one.
If I was able to rewind the clock, I have to say, most probably, knowing what I know now, I would be a little bit more helpful. Anyway, enough said, but the smell is really, really, really good.
Can I just point out, though, to be fair, your mum was so precious about her kitchen, wasn't she? That was her domain. So even though we used to try, she would usher you out and say, no, faccio io.
I'll do it. Yeah. But that's the way they are, because it's cultural. So I'm going to show you, before I start, what they look like in the middle. So it's nice and tender, as you can see.
Look at that. Yum.
And I'm going to slice this in little pieces like this, and I'm going to show you how to best serve it if you're cooking this with pasta. So another tip, I've cooked the pasta and it's nice and al dente. Over here I've just drained it. Whenever you cook pasta like this with meatballs, so meat rolls and so on, do ensure that you drain all of the water, because it will be a fairly liquidy water and a fairly liquidy sauce. And here it is. Actually, this one has got a lovely steak which I chopped in. So I'm going to first of all add a few ladles. It's 3 of us, so I'll put 4 in, and initially I will use this as an opportunity to mix everything together and blend my pasta with a good layer of, where are you going? Go back in there, of my tomato sauce. Then Julia has actually given me here some basil. I'm gonna put it in, why not? But you don't have to. I'll just put it in now, as it will release some flavour whilst everything is still really hot. Number 2, and this is very simple, of course. Here comes my bowl, and I'm going to dish enough for 1 portion. And I've cooked 300 grams of pasta, being 3 of us, so that is plenty there. And then I'll carry on with another scoop of my beautiful sauce on the very top, just like this. And here is my meat, and I'm going to now arrange it on top. One over here, another one over here, and the other 2 over here. And I did actually have some parsley, which I've also chopped, because we got parsley on the inside, and I want to complement the parsley on the outside as well. And it's ready. The only missing part is a little parmigiano, which is very traditional in Italian cooking. Not a lot, just like this. And if you leave it for 30 seconds, it will melt.
Lovely. This is such a favourite in our house, isn't it? Literally since the kids were little, we've eaten this.
However, I'm going to leave that one just for my picture. So I'm going to try this. I'll get a little pasta, and I'm going to let you know, I don't know why, but I know it's going to be delicious, what it's like. Just in case I did it wrong. But sometimes you get different cuts of meat. Because I'm using fairly cheap meat, it could be that it's a little bit tough, but I don't think it's going to be. So as I said, you don't have to spend an arm and a leg. Just buy some fairly cheap thin steak that you can buy in supermarkets, and this way of cooking will take care of it. It's really nice. Oh my god. The egg, I told you, really delicious. And the bacon, as I mentioned before, it releases that lovely flavour which is unique to bacon. So let me know if you make it, and if you do, let me know if you identify the smell as soon as you cook that I was referring to. Thank you for watching, and as always, buon appetito. Ciao ciao.